Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Eve Beginnings. My name is Kaylem, and we're going to talk about a few out-of-game Eve tools today. Eve is so vast, there are a lot of tools out there to assist us in our Eve lives. The most talked about one must be the skill planner called EveMon. So I want to show you guys what EveMon is today and show how helpful it will be. So the problem really comes from that you might have a lot of things you want to train. You might not know what you want to really train, whether or not do I put extra level of this or extra level of that. And sometimes we fall through this problem where we want one thing, and before we get there, because let's say this one thing takes us, I don't know, 5 days to get to, but while we're playing during the 5 days, we keep saying, well, I want this now. And then therefore we kind of change our trainings here and there to make it so that we don't actually get anywhere. So EveMon is a very useful tool that can help us reach our goals wherever they might be. You want to get into a specific cruiser and fly a specific fit, EveMon can help identify which skills you need and how long till you can do that fit. It is insanely easy to operate, and all you really need to know is how to structure a plan. While I cannot give you a tailored plan without asking you basic questions about what you want to do, what I can do is show you how I created my plan. So here I have EveMon, and as you can see, I already have characters imported. If this is your first time downloading it, you might have nothing there. So what you need to do, you need to go to File, Add API Key, and then over here they actually give you what type of API keys to do. So you want to click this EveMon features, and it'll teach you actually how to make your API key. You can even click this link, I believe, and it creates one for you, so you don't have to do anything. So just click this link, and then you'll have to sign into your api.eveonline.com and then get an API code. Once you get that, put the right information in these two boxes and click next, and you can import your characters like I have imported mine. For the sake of today's lesson, let's just go ahead and make a new file. So this is my new file, and we're going to create a new plan, okay? And so I'm going to name this the 21 Days to Greatness plan, okay? And again, this is just my plan based on my goals. Your plans will be definitely different depending on what it is that you want to achieve. So let's talk about what I wanted to achieve in my 21-day character. So for me, I basically only had two main objectives. Objective number one is that we be self-sustaining. Whatever it is that I do, you must be able to do too. With that, so nothing too hard and nothing too skill intensive, because we don't have that much time together to really do something more skill intensive. So, but whatever it is, we must be able to make the money, make the ISK, in order to support the second objective, which is to PvP. So there are two ways for us to support ourselves, and I explained in the last video. I plan on doing missions, which all the skills are pertaining to PvP, so I'm not going to talk about that for a sec. And then the second way is for exploration. Now for exploration, we have to do some special skills for it. So the first thing that we should know is that I want to be able to pilot a specific ship to do exploration. Now for exploration, the real ships are going to be standard frigates, because anything more advanced takes too long to kind of level up to, quote unquote. So let's go take a look at, I'm currently piloting an Imicus, so we're going to add the Imicus there, right? Add that to the plan. So the cool thing is that, let's say you have a ship. So a ship like the Imicus, all I really need is Galactic Frigate 1, which I started with, so I'm going to be able to do it anyway. But let's say I took a harder ship. So let's say I want to be able to pilot a, not just a frigate, but let's say a cruiser. Okay, so, and this is my end goal, by the way, is before the end of the 21 days, I'd be able to get into maybe a battle cruiser, or at least a cruiser, maybe a Rupture, okay? So, or Scythe, rather. So what I can do is I can then add all to plan. So for me to just sit inside a Rupture, I need to have not only Minmatar Frigate 3, Destroyer 3, but also Minmatar Cruiser 1. So I can add all of those. And now you see I have now 3 skills added to my skill queue, and it'll take me 16 hours, so 17 hours basically, 17 hours and 600,000 ISK for me to basically be able to sit inside this ship. Okay, so that's what's so cool about it is that if you know a specific ship that you want to sit in, again, you still need other skills to kind of put the guns on, and put the shields on, or the armor stuff on. So be aware of that. So you really want to do the whole fit if that's what you're gonna do. But the point is that you don't really have to research what skills you have to learn in order to do it. EveMod does it for you right away. So here is what I'm gonna pilot to do basically my exploration. I'm gonna do an Imicus, and just to show you, I'm gonna show you this website in a little bit. But I'm gonna look my fit up is very similar to one. And by the way, this is Battle Clinic. This basically shows us some basic fits for ships that we might be looking for. So here is our fit that I'm going to use. So let me make this larger for us to see. Perfect. So here we have a Imicus, which I can already pilot, but just for the sake of it, I'm just going to add this to the plan. Imagine you can't really sit in Imicus right now. So that would take us 16 minutes so far. And so now I also want to put a prototype cloaking device. So as I'm going through this, I'm going to explain why I like this fit a lot. So first thing is a cloaking device. A cloaking device, so I can go to item browser and just type in cloak, right? Did I spell it wrong? Nope, cloak. Right here, prototype cloaking device 1, add to plan. So adding this will add 2 skills. There we go. So we want a cloaking device on our prober so that when we go into low sec space, we can kind of warp somewhere, cloak, and then do our scanning in peace. Same thing if we do end up going to null sec in these 21 days, we want to stay safe while we are probing out the sites that we want to do. On top of that, there's not really much of anything else to really, it doesn't have any combat kind of mean uses, and it's just used to be able to probe while in relative safety. The next thing is a core probe launcher, which we should already have the skills to have, but let's just add that to the plan as well. So then this goes without saying, as you've seen my exploration video, hopefully. This is our probe launcher, which launches the probes that we need to hunt down the sites that we need to be going after. This is a salvager, which they have it on here. I don't like it, so I'm not going to have this one on my fit. But basically, you can technically salvage your items if you find anything there. But exploration sites after Odyssey don't really have any salvage sites anymore, so this is kind of a little outdated. So here we have micro warp drive, so that we could get around fast. And there's a little trick with where you micro warp drive. If you were in a pickle, you could micro warp drive and then cloak up, and that's a really neat trick. There's a cargo scanner, so I'm going to add that on. A cargo scanner allows us to basically look at what we're about to unlock. So if we found a hacking site, we already have all the skills. If we found a hacking site, for example, and we need to use one of these data analyzers and whatnot, we can basically see what, I guess, prizes or what rewards we can expect to get before we actually go and do our hacking or analyzing for that matter. So and this is really useful because then if you know certain things are worth more ISK, you can go and grab those things. Because remember, after the end of the minigame, when you win, the whole thing explodes and little tiny packages kind of float out in space. So it's really up to you to double click on them and pick them up. So it would be really cool if the cargo scanner actually tells you which one is worth the most ISK, so then you can go grab those first. And then down here we have our damage control. It goes without saying, basically adds to our effectiveness because it keeps us alive basically. And mind you, this is damage control tech 2, not tech 1. So, and I'm going to go for tech 2 because it's useful for not only exploration but also for PvP. This module is very, very useful. And then they have 2 nanofiber internal structures, which are pretty good. I talked about it before on how it's supposed to help you accelerate faster, but I like to do one better and add a... So we'll definitely take this. So, don't need to add it, already there. But there's also something that I would like to add, which is the inertial stabilizers. right here. And this is a cool module. I talked about it earlier, and it basically just increases your agility, which allows you to turn your ship better, which is also already in the plan. So as you can see, I don't have to add any more skills. And then what's next is that we have a small gravity capacitor upgrade. So let's put that in, small gravity. And right here it is. Okay, we're going to add that on. And then we're going to, this I believe is the same skills. So I'm not going to use that. So that's it. So for me to get into the ship from a brand new character with no skills whatsoever and do the fit, by the way, would take 3 days and 18 hours. So basically almost, let's say 4 days. As I was saying, I'm going to make this my 21-day plan. I'm going to fill this up to 21 days. So for me, everything else after this is going to be PvP. So let's talk about what skills I want for PvP, or rather what kind of modules I want to use for PvP. Now I already did the DCU2 over here. So the next thing really is maybe adaptive invulnerability field 2. Okay, which is going to add a couple of days to that. And I'm only picking out the tanks right now. So what I really care about in terms of excuse me, in terms of the tanks. So I already know I want hull upgrades. That's perfect. So this adds another almost 4 days to it. Yep. So, but very useful. I also want to make sure I can do my fit. So maybe a power grid management to 4 as well would be very helpful. Shield upgrades. Shield upgrades is not, I don't really want too much of it, so I'm just going to put that to 3. So you can use a skill browser and do the exact same things. Like here's the armor stuff. So armor layering, and it tells you the skills right here, what it does for you. Gives me a 5% reduction in armor plate mass. I don't really care too much about that, so I'm going to give it. So the default is I'm going to have every skill at least at level 2, if not level 3. Okay, so as you can see, I am basically done modifying. I got it down to 20 days and 7 hours. Obviously, if you're only doing a 21-day trial, you can always fill out the rest, but at that point, you really wouldn't care. But if you do decide to play on longer, of course, you would then add on to this. So this is my good general PvP / exploration necessities, all in 21 days. So just to recap, I definitely took care of what I wanted in terms of this fit first, and then whatever's left, I geared that towards PvP. The reason is because this needs to be done. Without this, I'm not going to make any money. I won't be able to PvP, so it really wouldn't matter about all the other PvP skills I'm going to have. And that's really it. And it shows that I'll take 20 days. So I can show you what Yvonne is doing for me right now. So for example, right now I have a character training, Cleo Starwood over here. And as you can see, she has 5 days of training left. And when it's time for me to refresh it, Yvonne will tell me. Now, Yvonne doesn't have any alarms or anything like that, but it's good to just see if you have to update a skill or whatnot. So that's my file, and this is my 21-day plan, and I'll post this up for you guys to kind of mimic, but by all means, do the edits to it yourself. More than welcome to do that. No hair off my back. Alright, so I want to talk about Battle Clinic right now. So Battle Clinic is a website where you can actually pick out loadouts. So if you are either too new or don't know what you're looking for in terms of a fit of a ship, you can actually find fits on this website, and I'll have that posted in the description, of course. So for example, if I want to fit my thorax, right? You know what? Forget thorax. Let's just do Thrasher. See, I could pick Thrasher as a ship, and let's say I want it for PvP, which I checked up. You could pick any of these that you like, or I could do PvE. Oops, I could do all of them basically, but let's just say for PvE. Let's say I was looking for a new mission fit. So here seem to be a few. Let's go to this one, PvE, lowish skills and whatnot. So a lot of times when you click on a link, you'll get a fit here. It'll tell you what to put, how to fit it, and then gives you a brief description of how to use it. So for PvE, there's not a lot of information, whereas if you actually went for a PvP fit instead, you'll get a lot more information as to how to use that fit. So when you are a new player, you won't understand too much why the fit is done the way it is. So reading the description helps a lot. As an older player, I can see the modules and then kind of guess what kind of ship this is. So seeing how there's a Webifier here and a Scram, Scram has a range of 8 kilometers. This has a average about 10. So it's a very short range type of fighter. This is probably autocannon, which it is. So, oh, here it is, short range. Also set for solo. So it kind of gives you an idea of how it's going to work. Its tank is based on armor. It's going to have a bigger armor tank. So it doesn't try to speed tank or anything like that. So a lot of it is just by looking at the fit, I kind of know how to use the ship. But if you don't, definitely read. Reading the comments doesn't really hurt either, just to see what other people think about them. But don't worry, there's a lot of haters everywhere. So, all right. And we can do some really neat things, such as maybe go for ships that we might want to pilot in the future, and then work up to it. So, for example, this Rupture, for example, this is a solo plate Rupture. It's actually quite old, from 2009, but it has over 300 likes. So you want to have more, or pay more attention to those fits that have a lot of likes versus a lot of dislikes. So 300 is quite a lot. I think this is the top one, actually, and he gives a good explanation of how to use it. I'm not going to go too deep into it. This is just to show you what kind of site this is. Very, very useful. Can do it for any ship, anything, basically. Just good to know that if you are picking ships from here first and then doing it later, for example, seeing how this Vindicator looks awesome, you want one. Don't forget that bigger does not mean better in EVE Online. And I'll have more videos to explain that, but even the smallest Merlin can kill the most expensive Vindicators if fielded correctly. So when you build a ship, each ship can be used to do different things. It's not just always one specific thing. A lot of new players ask me, Kaylem, what's the best PvP ship? There is no such thing as a best PvP ship. The best ship is the best one made for the reason that you're looking to bring a ship out. If you want to go and be bait, the best bait ship is going to be different depending on whether you're on low sec or null sec, or whether or not you can pilot something chunkier or only something light. So it's really very situationally specific, and that's why no one can really give you the best fit. So they can only give you what they think is best or what you think is best. So that's a really important thing to remember. Okay, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about my second favorite outside of EVE application. It's called .lan, EVE Maps. This is a really, really cool app. And what it basically does is gives you information about the game that the game also gives you, except not in a easy way. So let's take a look. When we go to EVE and I go into the map over here, you see the heat signatures? Currently, I believe, let's see, what are they telling me right now? These heat signatures are telling me, let's do statistics, ships destroyed in the last hour. So in Sync Liaison, the ship that were destroyed in the last hour, the most seem to be coming from this area. As you can see, this is not really helpful. It doesn't exactly tell me what areas are receiving high amounts of players killing each other. Whereas here, if I go with ship kills for the last 24 hours, same information as the in-game app, but in this one I can easily see that a lot of the kills that are happening in Dodixie, happening in Baal, happening in Troceri. Whereas here it's a little bit more confusing, as you can see. So that's why I like using .lan a lot better. So I just want to give you a couple of examples of why you would use this out-of-game map instead of in-game map. So let's say you're doing some PvE, you're trying to do some exploration, and you're trying to see, oh, where can I find exploration sites that other people haven't already found yet? So just staying in Sync Liaison, we can go to jumps 24 hours. So in the last 24 hours, you can actually see where people are jumping through. So for a space like Botane, you can reasonably expect not to find any good exploration sites here because of the fact that many people went through it, and so you're thinking probably somebody has checked it out. Or it could be very much the opposite, because there's so many people here, nobody's checking it out. Either way, you make a decision on how you want to do your findings. I like to search for a system that barely has anybody in it. So for example, I might not go here where there's 20,000 jumps in the last 24 hours, but here is 1,000 jumps, significantly less. Here's 1,000 jumps, here's 400, here's 300. So if I go to these areas, in my opinion, at least what I'm willing to bet my time on is that I'll be able to find more exploration sites in these areas than I would in these areas. So this is how you can use it. If you are a hunter and you want to know, okay, well, I want to kill some players. I mean, this is high sec, so you wouldn't really be doing that. You can actually see, okay, well, in the last 24 hours, these are where the hotspots are. So if you were looking for a fight, I'm willing to bet if you hung around this area or hung around this area, you're going to find a fight. And last but not least, if you're wondering where people are missioning, you can always go sort by NPC kills, and you can see that a lot of players are in Iglinart, Agalarier, I don't really know how to pronounce that, and whatnot. And so if you wanted to mission, this is a good place to do it. If you want to do some ninja salvaging, you know, go steal somebody else's loot or whatnot, this is also a good place to do it because you know that they're hanging out in these areas. So I hope you can see how useful this tool is for you. On top of that, for those of you who are kind of frustrated that not every station has a kind of a refinery or a I don't know, what do you call those, clone bays and whatnot, see? So you can actually see which stations have clone bays. So as you can see in this Botane, there's literally no stations with any of these services. But in Iglinart, you can see that you can find a clone bay here with this green little arrow. See this green arrow? It says there's cloning bays there. So that's a good way for you to look through the map as well. Thank you so much for watching this episode of EVE Online Beginnings. Just a little update about what I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of mission grinding, not having a good time, watching Netflix on the side. But I'm also going to start doing explorations now that I can fit into my ship finally. So hopefully the next video is going to be more about that. A little bit about the exploration and also about me joining a new corporation. As always, if you like my video, please subscribe. Click the thumbs up to give me some props, and at the very end, just leave me a comment and tell me what you think. This is Kaylem signing out.